Inside the first floor, Kamigawa's group gathered, their hands gripping makeshift spears and wooden shields. The air was thick with nervous chatter about the upcoming battle. Kamigawa, however, wasn't having any of it. "Don't get too soft now," he barked, his voice brimming with confidence. They could see any approach from a mile away, and with their elite phalanx, he was certain they'd hold the line. Meanwhile, on the fourth floor, Sudo's squad stood ready, bows in hand, peering through the windows. They were perched high, ready to rain death from above on any intruders. And up on the roof, scouts kept a watchful eye in all directions. This vigilance was why they felt so invincible. Kamigawa, ever the brash one, mocked the idea of an enemy daring to challenge them. "Idiots. They don't know who they're up against," he shouted, grinning as his men chuckled nervously. Suddenly, a noise broke through their overconfidence. A scout on the roof frantically called Sudo. "What's going on?" he asked. "It's a semi-truck. It's driving straight towards us." The scout's voice was tinged with fear. Sudo remained calm. "Keep an eye on it," he ordered before hanging up. One of his men looked uneasy. "A truck. Our arrows won't pierce that. And if they breach the fences with it, won't we be useless?" "Relax," Sudo cut him off. "If they try to ram the gate with people inside the truck, not only will the driver's life be in danger but also the people inside. They'd be fools to use it like that." "But what if they do get close?" another man asked, his worry evident. "That's even better," Sudo replied with a smirk. "They'll be stuck in a bottleneck. The moment they stop to unload, we'll fire. Even if they're armored, a few well-placed shots and they'll bleed out in no time." He grinned and said that humans are easy to take down. The ones in danger are Kamigawa's group. Better to play it safe and just shoot them from above. His men praised his strategy, reassured by his confidence. But that confidence was soon shattered when the truck neared the gate. They stare at the truck from the distance, their hearts pounding. To their shock, the truck didn't stop as expected. Instead, it drifted to a sudden halt just 3 seconds away from the main gate, kicking up dust and gravel. Kamigawa's group froze in confusion, and even Sudo's smirk faltered. Sudo quickly regained his composure. "Get ready. As soon as that container opens, we shoot." But what happened next caught them all off guard. Sato, gripping the steering wheel tightly, reversed the truck sharply, causing Kamigawa's group to scatter in panic. Even Sudo hadn't anticipated this. Then, with a deafening crash, the truck slammed into the gate, sending it flying open. Sudo's eyes widened as a terrible realization dawned on him. "Wait. Is there even anyone inside?" he muttered to himself, his mind racing. As the dust settled, the container doors swung open, but instead of soldiers, a horde of zombies poured out, their eyes glazed and their mouths foaming. They lunged at Kamigawa's group, tearing into them with a ferocity that left no time to react. Screams filled the air as the zombies tore into flesh, blood splattering across the ground. The entire Kamigawa's squad was done for. They couldn't believe what they are seeing. The room was filled with screams for help. It was the punishment they deserved for their misdeed. Kamigawa's confidence evaporated in an instant. As the carnage unfolded, his cowardice took over, and he bolted for the back door. He hadn't imagined in his wildest nightmares that they would ram the gate with a truck full of zombies. His only thought now was survival. He sprinted to the rear line, desperately pushing through the chaos. When he reached the door, he yanked on the handle, locked. Panic gripped him as he banged on the door, shouting for someone to let him in. On the other side, a man stood by the door, his orders from Sudo clear: keep it locked. Kamigawa's screams and curses echoed through the door, but the man didn't flinch. Sudo's orders were absolute, and besides, with zombies out there, opening the door was suicide. Kamigawa's pleas turned to sobs as he realized the betrayal. "Damn you, Sudo," he screamed, pounding the door in vain. Sudo, however, wasn't about to risk his own skin. "Like hell I'm opening that door," he muttered to himself. With a group filled with selfish, greedy men, such betrayals were inevitable. Kamigawa's cries for help were cut short by a sharp pain in his neck. A zombie had caught up to him. Blood gushed from the wound as he collapsed to the ground, his life draining away. In a nearby room, Mori and Saruwatari sat calmly, undisturbed by the chaos erupting outside. Sudo's voice crackled over the phone, no longer calm but filled with panic. "What do we do?" he demanded, his earlier confidence shattered. But Mori remained silent, his face unreadable as he stared into the distance, contemplating their next move. Sudo's desperate pleas over the phone went unanswered. His voice crackled with panic, but the phone lay abandoned on the table. It was in that moment he realized the bitter truth: he'd been betrayed. Meanwhile, in the shipping entrance, Mori and Saruwatari briskly made their way through a hidden tunnel. This was their escape route, carefully planned for such a scenario. As they walked, they spoke in low tones, their words laced with contempt for the comrades they'd left behind. "I'm glad we're on the same side," Mori muttered, a sly grin on his face. "They were all just dead weight." "Agreed," Saruwatari replied, already thinking ahead. "Let's grab a car and hit the freeway. We'll be long gone before they even realize we're missing." But just as they reached the exit, a woman's voice echoed through the tunnel, stopping them cold. "Leaving already?" Mori and Saruwatari turned sharply, eyes wide with shock. Standing before them were Miki and Karin, calmly waiting as if they'd known about the escape route all along. Saruwatari's mind raced. How could they have known about this? He demanded, "Who are you?" Miki's smile was disarming, almost innocent. "I'm the one who sent those zombies through your door." Her words sent a jolt of anger through Mori and Saruwatari. Cautiously, Mori pressed for more. "How did you find this exit?" Miki's smile grew wider. "It wasn't hard. A man like you, who uses the weak as bait and hoards supplies, would obviously have a plan for when things go south. A coward like you always has an exit strategy. Thinking about it is easy. After all, there is a back door in the shipping entrance opposite." Miki and Karin just waited for the surveillance team to get distracted by the zombies and made their move. Mori's thoughts race. Two women couldn't possibly take them both down, and there was no sign of any backup. He tried to gauge the situation, his confidence wavering as he failed to find any logical explanation. But Miki just smirked, glancing at Karin. "Stick to the plan," she said. "The plan is just to capture them, and not kill them." Karin responded by pulling out a baseball bat, leveling it at them. Mori blinked, taken aback by the simplicity of their weaponry. Mori, confused by the situation, asked if she's the one who will they fight. Miki confidently answered yes. Mori can't help but laugh at their plan. With guns maybe they could beat him, but with a bat, he's too confident that he could take care of Karin if it's just a bat. He reached into his clothes and pulled out a riot baton, swinging it with a solid impact against the wall to show its power. "When I'm done with you, I'll feed you to those zombies." Karin didn't flinch. She simply readied her bat, eyes locked on Mori. Saruwatari, meanwhile, pulled out a police taser, its 900,000 volts crackling ominously as he squared off against Miki. The fight began with Mori charging at Karin, his baton swinging down with all his strength. But Karin was quick, dodging effortlessly as the baton struck the ground, leaving a crack in the concrete. Frustrated, Mori roared, "Come at me." As Mori and Karin clashed, Saruwatari and Miki stared each other down. Saruwatari's mind was a whirlwind of doubts. If Miki had orchestrated everything, she wouldn't rely on a single girl with a bat unless she was certain she could handle Mori. But the fact that she's calm about all of this, there's something hidden that he still don't know. But that aside, all he needs to do is to take her down. If he can subdue her, Mori can take the other one. But Miki smirked as if he read his mind completely. "Do you really think subduing me will make a difference?" she taunted, her voice dripping with confidence. Saruwatari's eyes widened. How did she know what he was thinking? He realized with a sinking feeling that this was all part of her plan. The fight was straightforward because Karin was far stronger than Mori. As the battle raged on, Mori was already panting, his swings growing more erratic. Karin, on the other hand, seemed to be toying with him, dodging each blow with ease and a smile on her face. Mori couldn't understand it. How could she not be scared? He could shatter her arm with one hit, yet she moved with the grace and calm of someone who wasn't worried in the slightest. Karin grinned, finding an opening to counterattack. She swung her bat with full force, purposely missing him but slamming into the wall behind, almost destroying it. Mori's confidence shattered as he heard the impact. "You're weaker than a zombie," Karin taunted, her voice laced with mockery. Mori gulped as she continued, "You're scared, aren't you? Scared of what'll happen if I hit you? Zombies don't feel fear. But you do. Now are you curious why Karin only use a bat? Because that's all she needs." Mori's panic took over, and he attacked blindly, his movements wild and uncontrolled. But this was exactly what Karin was waiting for. She dodged effortlessly, waiting for the perfect moment. When it came, she struck him with her bat, a single, precise blow that knocked him out cold. Mori crumpled to the ground, barely conscious. Saruwatari stood frozen, the taser trembling in his hand as he realized how badly they'd underestimated their opponents. The cold, calculating smirk on Miki's face was the last thing he saw before he too was taken down.